anything you guys want to talk about in terms of like some great experiences and success moments? Or, just like, don't do this. Like little cautionary tales. I'm going to open up to you guys. I think this is very helpful. Like the do's and don'ts of everything from the audition to working on set. Just giving actors some insight as to what's the best thing you could do, what's the worst thing you can do. Two ends of the spectrum.
I recently had an audition, and I don't think that anyone in this room would probably do this because it was a bit of a generational thing. It was an actor who had been away from the industry for a number of years and had come back. And it was an old white guy. And I'm going to be one at some point, it's fine. But the context is important, I think. So in the scene, it's a kind of it's a date scene. And, we're kind of like throwing things in there, like, so have a little bit of fun, go a little more flirty, that sort of stuff. And it's going all right. And at the end, I kind of check in with this actor and say, how you feeling? He's like, pretty turned on. And I'm like,
not what I meant to say.
I'm like, what? I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh no, I mean I was I was really getting into that scene. And I feel, and I was like, well, thanks for that. And yeah, great. Cool. We'll contact you.
Sebastian, any great success moments that were surprising, or just something that stood out to you as like, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Really from that, to be honest. Man, I'm trying to think. I guess people coming in and people just coming in and surprising you with how things resonate, because sometimes you're not sure. You'll look at a thing on paper and you're like, fair enough, and you, I don't know, like actors coming in and bringing in offers to solve things that you truly didn't know how they were going to work. I mean, that's pretty amazing to see when they really connect personally with the roles. And you can't manufacture that. Some things on some roles you will, like one of our actors came in and was having a similar in the film. She had an elderly relative that was ill, and this actor was dealing with the same thing. And she came in and it was like, it was all there, and we didn't know that at the time. We were just like, what's happening right now? And she just came in raw and really authentic, and we were just like, what the fuck just happened? And it was a really an intense and overwhelming time in her life. Just hit the right time, and it was really kind of healing and cathartic for her, and it was beautiful and brilliant. I mean, not that you wish that upon anyone or in that moment, but it was just sort of like an alignment that had happened. That's the stuff, I guess, that you kind of go, oh wow, that's a really special and incredible kind of moment. So yeah.
It's very actor dependent.
Yeah, and also fate, life, and kind of just the sort of a synchronicity of things as well sometimes. Yeah, it is actor dependent as well, absolutely.
Something that every time I'm auditioning, coaching actors, a lot of newer actors say this thing that just gets me under the skin. They go, what are they looking for? And I'm always just like, ugh!
What do you say?
Stop asking that. Stop thinking about what they're looking for. Surprise them. Give them something new to think about. Bring your unique quality that is you and your unique take on this. That requires time. That requires script analysis. That requires reading the script 100 times if you need to discover something that's special and unique to you. That's like, oh, that's an interesting moment. What can I do with that? And then how truthful can you bring that moment, in the moment, on the day, in the audition, whether it's a self-tape or in the room, and just make it special and make it organic and surprise yourself. That example I gave about like me, I was thinking all day, like, that's going to be really clever. I'm going to make that really funny. And then it just, it was contrived. And then just getting hit in the face with like, oh, that sucked. Let me do it again. I don't know what's going to happen right now. And that's the take I sent, and I got the role. Like you got to trust. You got to commit, and you got to trust. And everything is a complete contradiction, and nothing makes sense. I don't know how else to describe it. All right, keep going.
I've got one. All right, my advice for this to actors is respect your art department. I'll just say that. With a lot of indie films, a way we save money is we'll often ask actors to supply their own costumes. Ever since this, I don't. I try not to as much as I can. So, it was this, we were shooting the climax scene, right? Which was a man realizes that the love of his life has seen him kiss another woman, and he's going to go chase the love of his life into another scene. So the kissing scene happens. We shot this on 2 different days. Kissing scene happens. So we shot that a month before, and then the scene where he goes after her, we had to shoot a month later. I forgot why. But the actor was like, oh, I'm gonna take my costume. No, it wasn't a month, it was the next day. He's like, I need to take my costume home in the car. And my production designer said, please don't do that. Please let me hold the costume just for tonight. You're not gonna wear it. And the actor's like, no, have to take it home. Have to leave it in the car. Anyway, he didn't leave it in the car. He comes to set the next day, and he's wearing different coloured pants. Severe different coloured pants, and there's no time for us to go back and get the correct pants. We can't go and buy new pants. So we're like, what do? We're going to have to colour correct this in post. It's going to take ages. And his idea was, how about in the script, my character goes home to change his pants and then goes after the train. And I'm like, what?
Punch you in the face.
What? Why would your character change his pants? And only his pants.
And how would the audience know that?
I know. Do we have to film this scene of him going home, changing his pants, and then going, oh, right, the love of my life, gotta go get her. What? So, yes.
What did you doing?
Well, we're going to have to colour correct that scene.
Oh no!
So we've edited around it so we can kind of half see his pants. But still, yeah, no, just go home and chase his pants. That's fine. That's fine. Oh! So yeah, respect your art department.
Oh, God.
Respect everybody, really.
Oh, yes. But if your production designer says, hey, let me hold these pants for one night, please listen.
Yeah, in terms of respecting the departments, even something as arbitrary as like me saying to the sound guy, there's a big screaming scene. My father just got shot, and I have to scream. So I, just go to the sound guy. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna scream, so I don't blow your eardrums out. Just every little thing like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, so it was the first day of the set of my very first feature film. Day 1, and we had planned to shoot in the garden of the location. 3 or 4 exterior scenes that day. We arrived on set, it had been raining. The river that runs through the property had risen.
Oh.
So the entire garden is now filled with water. But in this case, I had a good giggle for about 5 minutes whilst my crew and cast watched in horror about me going mental. But it was good because then we just told the cast to just wait for a minute. We have a little chat with the crew, and we decided to do 3 or 4 indoor scenes instead with the same actors that happened to be there. So and they were fabulous. They were obviously not prepared to do those scenes, but because they knew their roles so well, we didn't need a long time to rehearse for the new scenes that hadn't been planned for that day. So I guess the teaching from that is just, again, remain open and flexible to whatever might happen that might have nothing to do with the director, might have to do with the circumstance. And that whole shoot day could have been lost. We could have lost an entire day, everyone show up and not get anything, but instead we managed to film some scenes that we hadn't planned to do. So that was great. I think my biggest horror story though is like when actors don't go and see their own films. If you're lucky enough to get that role that I like for Westmark Effect, for example, for the leading role, I had 100 applications. So if you're 1 in 100, or if it's, you know, a big mainstream role, you're probably 1 in 1,000 if you happen to get that role. Why would you not go and see the film? Like, I just don't understand it. I think there's so much you can learn from that experience of seeing it. But yeah, I guess lots of my happy, I'm going a little bit off the script here with this question, but like lots of my happy experiences in the industry is when everyone like really supports the film that they're making, and you don't just go on set and do your job and then that's done, you move on to the next. You look at it as a career, and it's in your best interest if this film that you had a role in does well. So it's in your best interest that there's people that see it, so you spread the word. In your social media, whatever it is, Facebook, Instagram, in any way that you can, it's in your best interest that people hear about your film. So don't just go, of course, yeah, you keep going to different roles because that's your career as well, but to really care about the role that you do and to really care about the entire production that you're doing and keep it, like that's going to help your career to get those other roles. That's it.
Arnold Schwarzenegger talked about that in the Arnold documentary on Netflix about like your responsibility is to make the film, but an equal responsibility is to sell the film. And he got everybody on board with that, with like, we have to do publicity for this film because we can make the greatest film in the world, but if nobody sees it, what's it all for? And that was a big part of that, which I thoroughly agree with. Absolutely. It's really frustrating to put your heart and soul into something for years and then for the actors to not be on board. It can be frustrating, for sure. All right.
So a moment that like touched me was first day of shooting and CCTV Nasty, and I got like a 6 a.m. Call from the lead actress for this block, and she sent through a picture, and she'd had an abscessed tooth. She told me the day before, and she was like, look, I'm going to go to the dentist, I'm going to like get some emergency dental work, we'll see what we can do. But we got like the call the morning of, and it looked like she was hiding an orange in the side of her face, and she was in tears, and she's like, look, I'm not sure what I can do about this face, but we can like shoot around it, or we can do this sort of thing. And of course the responsible thing from the crew was like, go to bed, rest up. And she was distraught, and she's like, you're going to recast me, aren't you? And I'm like, no, because like we cast you for a reason. And the thing with filmmaking is that the first day, yeah, it sucks to have like a landmine on the first day, but you're also most flexible on the first day, because it means that you have the rest of the shoot to play with. If this had happened on the last day, it would have been more tricky because you don't have any more budget or shoot time left. So we for that particular day, we put the costume on the deer and shot fake Shemp. If you don't know, that's like an industry term. Shemp, one of the Three Stooges, died, and so they, for a long time, they did fake Shemp, where they would dress someone like Shemp so they could still film the sketches. So we fake Shemped our way through the day, and we rejigged the schedule so that she could appear in the. She had like 4 days to rest and recover, and she was good, and she came back to set and like was a dream to work with. So it's give and take. You don't like, you get cast and you owe a responsibility to production, but the production also owes a responsibility to you. We have to look after you. We have to make sure that you're not doing anything that will get you injured, or if you're sick, make you more sick. We have to like accommodate you where reasonable. So yeah, that's what I would say, yeah, without incriminating myself.
Now that was a fun week. I remember that, me dressed in costume, going, okay, where are the cameras? Yeah, they're there. Okay, don't show my face.
Yeah.
Writing going, don't show my face.
That's cool. We even learned something new about fiction.
Is that everybody? Richard?
Yeah, I guess my advice would just be never be afraid to ask questions, question everything, but at the same time don't overanalyze things. I think where it's like music, art, film, whatever, the more you analyze it, the more you fuck it up. And respect everybody, no matter what their department is.
Walshy, what's a memory from How Deep? A bad one.
How deep is the ocean?
Good. Yes.
There weren't no bad ones.
Can I give one?
Yes.
Can I finish?
I want to hear it.
Can I finish my point?
I want to hear it.
Yeah, look, respect everybody. Look, I had 500 actors apply for one role, and lots of them were not very nice people. They were like, there's no way I'm going to be stuck with this person for 14 days on set. Fuck that shit. But yeah, just respect and also fun. Filmmaking should be fun. The only problem is though, there are 1,000 factors that are going to get in our way and take the fun away. The job of the actor, director and the crew is to hold on to that fun and never let it go.
Beautiful.
May I suggest a question?
Sure.
Because I think it will be useful for you to hear from all of us how do we do casting and how you can approach us. Would that be useful?
Please.
Yeah. I can go first. Follow me on social media. I advertise all the roles, so just find me on Instagram. It's on your postcard. Saara Lamberg is my name. Saara Lamberg official. So whenever there's something coming up, I will put it on Instagram. So that's the easiest way of staying in touch with me. I now have such a big collection of Melbourne actors that I already know that the ones that really stand out is the faces that I see over and over and over again. So going to film events like this one, going to see films, going to just stay present in the industry, and that's the best way of getting cast. Yeah.
Tia, did you have a story?
Oh yeah, I'll quickly. You know, it's all good. You don't have any stories, Walshy? Come on.
Only good memories.
Oh, okay. Well, this one's hilarious.
Oh, great.
It's hilarious to me. So we were shooting at the beach.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
We were shooting at the beach.
That was a great memory. That was the best
love
memory.
it so much.
Go on.
So much.
Go on.
So it's this scene where Olivia goes into the water and she goes under and she flips her hair back and she's reborn. It's beautiful, beautifully shot. We shot this in winter.
Shivering.
Yeah, we shot this down in
Williamstown, yeah.
So I remember this because I produced an AD. So I was on the shore with the soundy and with someone else. And while she's like, okay, I'm going to go in, the actor's going to go in, and the two camera people are going to go into the water. Okay, cool. So the actress Olivia goes in, she's in costume, costume's warm. She's a bit awkward at first, goes right in, she's fine. Andrew here dives in like a fish to water, he's fine. I've never seen anyone more comfortable in my life.
They were all afraid to get in the water. I had to lead by example.
Oh yeah. And then I hear a scream. The highest pitched scream I've ever heard. I turn around and the DOP Scott has gotten in the water and he's screaming. Just,
We're used to that.
yeah, just, ah! Oh, yeah, the second camera operator, he didn't say anything, but he just looked in going, oh God, whereas Walshy's just diving like a dolphin. And I'm on the shore going, oh yeah, this is the life.
If anybody has pressing questions, we're going to open that up first in a moment, but just as a last sort of gem to leave our actors with, is there anything that you wish all actors would know so that it could just sort of help them in their approach or process? For me, I'll start this off, I say this all the time, it's all about what unique quality that defines you in your personal life. Stop thinking about what are they looking for. Yeah, it's important to think about how do I serve the character, how do I serve the story, how do I serve the role. That's all really important, but there's going to be hundreds, maybe thousands of actors doing the same scripted material over and over and over. What's going to make you stand out is what unique qualities you can bring to the role. what defines you. Bring that. So many actors don't do that because they're thinking about serving the audition and they're thinking about getting the role, when it's simply a matter of be yourself. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, you're gonna make an impression. I can't tell you how many roles I booked where I was just like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. It may or may not work. I don't know, I don't care. And then sure enough, they bring me in for more roles and more roles and more roles. And when you have true conviction and commitment to what you're doing, that's always been one of my biggest messages, is it will work out. But don't try to do what somebody else's idea is. Do what you want to do, show who you are, show what you're all about. Your unique quality is what's going to stand out. It's like that scene from Friends when Joey Tribbiani comes in and everybody's wearing a motorcycle jacket and has slick hair and they're all doing the same role. That's what auditions are like. They're seeing the same thing again and again and again and again. What makes you unique is going to stand out. Trust that, honor that, serve that, and it will lead to more opportunities. So that's one of my sort of core messages. So that's something that I'm constantly trying to say to actors. So if there's one thing that you could say to actors that they need to know, what would that be?
I mean, jumping off that, what you were saying there, I think is a huge, for me, it was a massive jump when I started realizing that I was more than what I did as well. Like, you're all in this, you're playing the role, you're in this as actors right now, and we're all sitting up here as directors. But that is just a label we put on the things that we do in the way we express ourselves right now. There's a Sam Neill had a quote, which was, I'm going to butcher it a bit, but I'm getting the essence right, that when he called himself an actor, he was very miserable. And when he started talking about himself as a person who acts, he was a lot happier, because it meant that when he wasn't acting, he was still a person. He still existed and had value and are interesting, and going out there and being a human being, paying attention to the loved ones in your life, to your pet, to your parents, do whatever you do, but like that those are just as valid as this thing, means that you bring that back into your craft. And for a long time, I put acting as being the most important thing in my life, and as soon as I embraced the fact that I was a human being who acts, I was not only going to get better as an actor, but I was happier as a person. And so, like, this is a brutal industry, I think, especially for actors, because it's so much about being in response to what the industry wants, or either gives you or doesn't give you. That seeking validation outside yourself is almost a necessary part. Like, you need to seek response from an audience to make sure you're on it, right? Make sure it's working, make sure it's landing. But that moves to validation very quickly, and the lines get very, very blurred. And it can be a very, for me as a young man with low self-esteem, it can be a very toxic relationship to have. So yeah, so kind of building on what you're saying, that's probably the biggest thing I'd say. Like, you aren't what you do, but you do a wonderful, beautiful thing in acting, and I love it, and we genuinely love it. All of us up here are here because we are passionate about actors and about acting. So not to take away from what you're doing, but like embrace your acting. It is really important. I know it sounds kumbaya, but like.
No, dude, that hits, man.
Yeah, because if you look to acting just to give you value, and that's it. I mean, like, what do you like? Set a couple times a year? Who knows? Like, the amount of money you make off, you can't put a number on. You can't be like, well, I made $1,200 from acting in the last 2 years. What does it mean? It doesn't mean it's a number. It's a number, Anyway.
Pretty good number.
No, it's a pretty good number. You're right, actually. In last 5 years.
Anybody else? What do actors have to know?
I tell all actors this, network. So 90% of my leads that I cast in films that I direct, I don't audition. I hate auditions. I despise them.
Why do you hate them?
Why do I hate them? Is it a
personal thing? Like, you think the concept they're awful, or?
The reason I hate them is I don't feel like people show their authentic selves.
Oh, okay.
In auditions, that's talking about the auditionees and the auditioners. Like, when I audition people, I'm not myself. I have a script that I read. Oh yeah, so this is the film, this is our shooting dates, this is when we're, yeah. I usually cast my leads because I've been on someone else's set and I've seen them act. and we've spoken in person, and I like them as a person, and then I'm like, hey, I'm making a film. I have a character. Would you like it? I will tailor the role to you.
You know what's so interesting about that is I fully agree and disagree with that on such equal levels.
Yeah.
Because I think networking is a dirty word. I hate the idea of networking and schmoozing your way through with ulterior motives.
Oh, I say those things.
However, if I think about my history of all the films that I've made, I always cast people that I knew and just liked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was around them for whatever reason, not because of networking, but because of the environment and the community that was built through just being plugged into the work.
Yeah, and it's funny too, like smaller roles on films, a lot of the time we'll just give it to whoever's on set. Like my runners have been in so many roles. Because sometimes an actor just doesn't show up. So network, jump on other people's sets even as runners.
In the last year, I've not networked with you whatsoever, and you gave me 2 roles.
Yeah, I was like, hey James.
It's a dirty word to me. It's
Yeah.
a terrible word. I hate that idea of networking.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
But you do it without realizing.
And she gave me 2 roles.
Yeah.
Because you're awesome. But it was the last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
That's one of those contradictions.
Yeah, because we were networking, we were just talking, and then like, hey, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about showing up, and you guys all showed up, so I think you're on your way.
Thank you. I genuinely. Sorry, did you have something?
Also, I still want to hear from
Please
other
don't do that.
directors about how they cast, so that everyone.
That was going to be my question. I was like, I don't want to hear this.
Okay, so firstly, just rock up on time, please. There's nothing worse, particularly a shoot day. If you're just late, everyone hates you. It sucks. It sucks. But beyond that, so we're all directors. We've all done something very audacious, but at the same time, there's nothing inherently special about this. So this is less of a something advice specifically just for actors. This is for everyone. It is don't get stuck on seeking approval from other people. Particularly not us dweebs. Make your own opportunities. Write your own stories. Learn everything you can about filmmaking. Learn about acting. Learn about other departments as well, because that will make you even more invaluable to cross between. All big actors eventually become producers because that's where the money's at.
And that's how they have creative control over things.
Exactly.
Tell stories they want to tell.
It's not money. Don't expect to make money.
That's
Creative control is your money.
Yeah.
It's the guy.
But generate like. Go to auditions, learn about that, but also generate your own contact. Bring like what you are doing now is like you're networking with each other, and you've got like an opportunity to like spiral these connections into your own projects and make your own stuff. So yeah, my thing to actors is don't just like rely on like that big break coming. Vin Diesel and like make your own short film. Go out and get yourself seen and do something. Take destiny into your own hands.
Love that.
Anybody else? All right. I want to open the Q&A to everybody. I'm going to kick it off with my own question though, because I want to ask everybody if this is my own volition. So thank you guys first and foremost for such a beautiful invaluable insight to what it means to be a director and a filmmaker in this collaborative process. So we're going to open up to you guys. If you have pressing questions, please ask. Please do. This is your opportunity. I'm going to start it off with asking about your directing style. And I know there's a big open spectrum of like everything's true all at once. I get it. But if you could get disciplined here for the sake of our actors, when you're going take to take, is your style more emotionally driven with an actor's performance, or technically driven with like I'm thinking about the edit and how things cut together and this is such a delicate blend of an actor's performance, emotionally speaking, and what the actor's delivering, versus like this is a technical craft, and we have to be technically proficient, and things just don't work if you're not hitting those craft-driven things. In your experience, what have you experienced most? What have you dealt with most? Where are you at with how you operate as a director in terms of giving directors notes? Is it more from an emotional place, more from a technical place? What can you elaborate on the technical versus the emotional?
My pet hate is going to a film festival and seeing technically perfect film that's got no story or not good performances. And I'm always coming from the emotional, I'm always coming from the performance. Whether it's in the edit, which one I choose, I will choose the take that's technically worse if the performance is spot on every time. And yeah, as an audience member, it frustrates me to like, I could talk about this forever. Can we be here until 6 a.m.?
Me and you both,
and there's
me
so
and you
many
both.
directors out there that only look at the technical and don't.
And as a director, that's like one of the worst kind of like, like
so
when it doesn't match up.
I'm 100% about performance and emotion.
And then when it does match up, you're just like, thank God. Yeah. But sometimes it doesn't match up.
It's tricky because I'm the same. I always prioritize the performance over. Like we'll sort technical stuff out. We'll color grade the pants. Fuck. We'll color grade the pants. We'll figure out a way. We'll cut around it. We'll snip a moment out. We'll cut away to something else. So we can come back and fix that little botchy bit. But there's ways to make it work. But I will fight to my dying breath to get performance to prioritize. That said, it's tricky. Sometimes you have set pieces. We had a couple of set pieces, like action set pieces, where we just threw 4 cameras on it because we knew, well, we've got to get it. We've got one go at it, so we'll hopefully get it in a bunch of different angles. Now there wasn't a chance to kind of, or maybe there was 2 chances potentially if it really went bad. But in that, the actor has to deliver. We've got it's all happening then, so that's pressure. And so we're then it's about me kind of working out how to juice that actor up, have them, what do they need? Do they want to go out and listen to the music before this bit? Are they kind of let loose? Fair enough. And I have them just go over there and do their thing. Or if they need to actually keep it light and just sort of chat and kind of be, and I know that's kind of part of their process of sort of taking the stress off it so that when it happens, they bring everything. Fair enough. But cultivating what they need and kind of, and intuiting that, to be honest, I kind of did intuit how each actor needs, or what each actor needs. But in that thing, there is definitely a focus on this technically has to come off right. We only have one door we can destroy. We only have one, fake body we can beat the shit out of with the bat. It is what it is, right? And so you throw up all the cameras and you kind of get it right. You set it up for 2.5 hours and you shoot it in 3 minutes and that's it. So with that, I'm making sure the actor's in the right place before we go for it. I'm talking with them about size. I'm talking with that kind of stuff. And but at the end of the day, the emotional performance is always for me what pins everything together, because it's what makes you care about stories and it's what stays with you. Technically perfect stuff is amazing. I really like David Fincher as a director, but that stuff doesn't stay with me for days after, weeks after. Some stuff does, but it'll be not because of the crazy tight edit that he did. It'll be because of other things, the actor's performances, story moments, maybe images. Some of his images are pretty great, but it's not because he's a tight director that he's great. It's because, of the other elements that haunt me.
So get your pitchforks ready.
Pitchforks?
I am technical. So I don't like conventional coverage, and I always have lofty, ambitious ideas, like let's film an entire film through CCTV television.
I'm like, he's doing what?
Which is, I'm never satisfied with conventional coverage. I always have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm always coming at filmmaking with something new. That's what excites me. That's what inspires me. So for me, acting is about movement over time. So it's about dance, it's about choreography, it's about getting that stuff right, and then on top of that, you have your cake and you got to eat it too. You got to get the performances. Right. It's like you can't have one without the other. I think that for me personally, just like over the shoulder coverage is like that kind of takes me out of the film. And like the performances can be wild, but what I like is something like Tarkovsky, where we're seeing, and if you haven't seen any of these films, please do yourself a favor. They're all in Russian. They're really dense. Probably see like Saara Stalker or Ivan's Childhood. That's probably the most digestible if you can handle a film about a child during the Second World War.
Yeah, maybe Saara Stalker first.
Yeah, but it is a ballet between the performer and the camera, and that's what gets me excited. Watching the two like work hand in hand, and so yeah, to do that successfully, there has to be a technical proficiency. It takes, and that's not expected immediately. It takes time to do that. It takes time to like hit your marks and learn everything. And filmmaking is kind of a slow and tedious process, but once you do that, and then you add like your performance, like there's realms for me, which is like the choreography, and then there's a realm for you, which is the performance, and we kind of both have to compromise and meet in the middle to get something that is really exciting.
I love that, a ballet between the performer and the camera. I love that. That's wonderful, fun, fantastic. Thank you. Just if everybody has any pressing questions, let's hit them. Just Sascha.
I'm not surprised at all. So, questions. Do you guys mainly do auditions in person, or do you prefer the self-tapes?
In person.
Person's better.
Yeah.
I do both, but I prefer in person. But I'll take someone's first auditions as self-tapes, especially if they kind of line it up for something, like I really want to see an actor. Like, yeah, sure, send a tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer in person. The only session we made was Adam Rowland for the role of Charlie, because we were coming in and out of the Melbourne lockdowns. So we just couldn't get Charlie together at the same time. So he did a self-tape on his own. Again, with the guidance.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm a face-to-face person.
I'm so glad you guys said that, because I was having this discussion with another actor yesterday. Sorry if I may elaborate a little bit, but that I don't like this world of self-tapes. I'm kind of a veteran. I've been, acting since like the 90s and early 2000s. And so I prefer those in-person auditions where I'd be sitting in the foyer of the waiting room and I'd hear the other auditions going on and thinking, okay, I'm hearing the same thing happening. How can I mix this up before I go into the room? And that would be a lot of the time how I would approach those sort of things. Other people find that intimidating. I'm like, no, I see that a challenge. Someone else is doing the exact same thing. I'm just like, right, okay, how am I going to change this and be a bit different?
I like commercials. I like that commercials are more self-tape now, because sometimes breaking a day up, dropping a shift, moving your kids around for whatever, like organising life around commercial auditions can be frustrating, considering your hit rate's like 1 in 50. You know what I mean? Like it's just nice sometimes to be able to like put them down whenever you. But yeah, for like stuff that's not commercial, for film, TV stuff, for scripted stuff, yeah, I get real crusty when I can't get it in person. It's really hard. I think that's really, really hard. I don't think it's hard to get a vibe off people. It's hard to kind of gauge to land the performance. That said, you get some great tapes coming in for this. But I would always get them in person and run with other people and do lots of stuff in the room.
And to that, I will also say that as somebody who started auditioning in the mid-90s, I only know in-room auditions. And when self-tapes became a thing, I didn't have a single different approach to it. It's the same exact thing to me. And I've had a lot of success in self-tapes auditions. I only do 2 or 3 takes. I treat it the same exact way.
How do you
And-
show how cool you are, James?
With the self
Just the
tape.
chat to
All
camera. The
the,
chat to camera is where you show that.
If
The
you
chat
do-
to camera is the thing. Don't skip it. Like make sure you have.
But it's
little
not a
personality.
difference to me. It's
Yeah.
not a difference to me.
If you do have to do a self-tape, it's about the performance. So I still get asked to act as well, and I was waiting for a flight on the Brisbane airport, and I got a casting call in. I had about 10 minutes before I was supposed to board.
Whoa.
I read my casting call, the lines, whatever I had to deliver. I went to the disabled toilet because it's a bit bigger than normal toilets, and there's no other people there. And I recorded it, and I got the part.
Wow.
So, like, it's about the performance. It's not about having the lights and the
Oh.
background, and
Yeah.
you know, as long as they can hear you well
Yeah.
and they can see you well, done.
Yeah.
So for me, I direct, and I'm a person that directs. But more than that, I'm a person that produces, and I like so much more of my life has been spent producing, and so come the casting call. And if the producer isn't also the director, then the producer is in the ear of the director. One thing you're looking for is someone that shows up, and someone that shows up on time, and that's almost as important as like the audition itself. If you're sending through self-tape, then that sort of information is still unknown. And so if you're sending through self-tapes, then you want to make sure that your online communication is really on point. You're not like getting a question from the director or the producer and then waiting 2 days to get back to them. You want to like be on top of that so that they know that you are on it and reliable.
Nothing.
So I know that as directors and producers, you have a certain vision of what you want to see in a film. So my question is regarding scouting. How do you approach it, and what obstacles did you find along the way in your film?
Like location scouting?
Yeah, locations.
Oh God.
A trick I tell a lot of directors I work with, and I use myself, is write what you've got. So it helps with budget. So, for example, Disconnected, my feature, is shot mainly at a B&B, which was one location, which I had access to, which they gave me a discount, which saved me money. Marital Problems, the trailer you saw, shot in one house, which is my grandfather's house. It's just, write what you know, what you have. With Jet, I went the complete opposite.
Oof.
I wrote an epic about a band.
How many venues?
7, which I did not own any venues, so that dramatically increased the budget. Yeah.
Connections to porn.
Well, I do now.
Yeah.
Expensive connections.
But yeah, with location scouting, for indie guys, it's usually what you know, what you can get, and what's available, unfortunately.
That could be another thing that an actor offers. If they know that they've got a house available, for example, they can say that in the audition, and it might just make it so that you get the role. Who knows?
Pretty sappy.
So for CCTV Nasty, and this is a little bit different to like my. So CCTV Nasty is a passion project, and it's something that like I felt very passionate about for like all of the stuff that all of the professional stuff that I directed and produced. For ClickView, you would find a location, you would get a brief, and then you break it down, and you'd have a list of locations, and you just like contact every conceivable option for those locations as possible. Sometimes it'd be like, oh, we need a circus tent, and you'd like think, okay, what can stand in for a circus tent?
Yeah.
For CCTV Nasty, we had over 80 locations over 30 days. It was big. Most of those locations were outdoors in the city of Melbourne. Melbourne has a lot of little alleyways. Most of it was alleyways. Melbourne has quite a few alleyways. I visited every single one. I could like show you my, oh, well, here you go. So this is, so every point, every alleyway I went to and took pictures of, it left a little point. And so this is Melbourne.
Oh my god.
So I think I have over 1,000 different like locations that I went to, because for CCTV Nasty, I knew that that like we had a limited budget, and you sell films on production value. Like you sell things on, like there's the performance, there's the camera, there's the lighting, that sort of thing. Production value for me was I knew that Melbourne had many eccentric, weird little alleyways, so I found them all, and I found backups for ones, because sometimes you go to an alleyway and there's a police raid, or like I don't know. We had all sorts of problems that I'm not going to mention here in front of an audience. That meant that we had to like move to a different alleyway, and I was able to say with certainty that okay, this is the next best option in the closest proximity, because I visited every single one.
I want to end with this. Thank you guys so much again. What is something that, to me, trust is a huge issue. When I trust an actor, from the audition process to the shooting process, trust is a huge thing for me, of like what makes me just go bam, it's solidified. For me, when I trust an actor to cast them in a role, everybody's gonna have their own answer. Mine has a lot to do with somebody who's gonna have a mind chock full of ideas. So many different ideas, so many different options, that they're gonna be able to commit to it and bring authenticity to each different idea. They're not just gonna have one necessarily singular idea, but a plethora of ideas, and they're gonna be able to deliver an authenticity to that. It's convincing or it's not. They're committed or they're not. It's about commitment, it's about truthfulness, it's about bringing a variety. I like variety. I'm somebody who likes variety because I have my own idea, but I'm never confident enough to be like, my idea is the best idea. I'm always open to actors being like, what do you think? And I want to see that. So for me, trust is like, you're going to come into the day when we shoot with 12 different ideas, 12 different takes. You're going to do your homework, and you're going to be fully committed that I have 12 usable options. That's what I'm looking for. What are some things that instill that trust in you to make that casting decision, or take the take, or just being like, yeah, that's the person I want to work with?
Me, it was just honesty. So Olivia played the lead role. She's very honest. She's probably the most upfront person you'll ever meet in life. She will tell you right there and then, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And we were floating ideas for like the shooting days. We're like, no, Olivia, maybe Elmore should do this event. And the message, bullet points. Hi Andrew, here's why I don't think we should be doing that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, she's got me there. What's the alternative? Well, they can do it this way. Yeah, all right, we'll give that a try. But she wasn't doing it to undermine me as a director. She's doing it because she gives a shit about the story.
I had a phone call that I had to make to an actor for the feature, and I was like, it was a role offer conversation, and I was like, hey, listen, I want to offer you this role, and the response was like, not what I expected, because normally actors are like, oh, that's great, I'm really excited about the thing, and this actor's like, I mean, that's great, and I was like, cool. Sure, I want to work with you. You know, we'd worked together previously as actors, and she's great, and I trusted her as an actor. I trusted, and she's like, I got this. Something's happened though that I think I need to be like forthright about. I need to be honest with you about. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. I'm like, what am I going to associate with this production? Okay, fair enough. And she goes, I've just found out that I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh, I mean, firstly, congratulations. I mean, that's a very exciting thing. Like, you know, like that's phenomenal. And then she goes, but the problem is I don't know how I'm going to look. Yeah, I don't know if it suits the character. And I was like, let me think about it. And I thought about it. I mean, literally, like, think about it for like 5 seconds, and I was like, don't know. It's actually awesome. So the character is like a gangster's girlfriend, but she sort of kind of runs. She sort of has as far as power structure goes, she's kind of higher up than he is, and they're sort of a newer relationship, and it actually was perfect because it just raised the stakes for the two characters. It raised it so much more because he's trying to climb up the ranks, and so he has to do some stuff to do that, and so it kind of made the whole thing more intense, that he now has to kind of like come into his own, kind of, he has to like, and he's not comfortable in it either, he's like fighting his inner nature to do that. So having with his beautiful, terrifying, pregnant girlfriend was like a really interesting angle that I had never thought of, and because I didn't cast a pregnant lady, I cast a lady who was, I didn't know she was trying, and it ended up being really, really wonderful. It was tricky. She was heavily pregnant when it happened, and it was complicated, and we had to be careful about some rest times, and it was a bit of a thing, but I still back it, and I still think it's a really fun and weird choice, which kind of just was thrust upon us. And it was because I trusted her. I knew she'd be awesome, and I'm not saying it was an easier choice, but I think it was a really exciting choice. Yeah. And so I guess it's kind of about trust. Yeah, she told me right away. She was completely honest about it. I trusted that she'd be fine. I trusted that it would be fine, that we wouldn't have to recast if things got a bit more complicated. But we managed to make it work, and I'm really happy that we did. Yeah. Anyway.
Anybody else?
I guess meeting someone for the first time is really hard to gauge if you can trust them or not. So I've got a few little tricks that I do. When it comes to auditions, the ones I do run, I always tell them so I give them my phone number and my email, and I tell them to email me. If they don't email me and they call me, nah, sorry. You can't take basic directions. Not gonna work.
James knows. Don't fucking call me.
Little tricks like that, or I'll say something in the email, and if they don't pick it up, I'm like, okay. Also, the Melbourne industry is very small.
Oh, yeah.
It is very small. Everyone knows everyone.
Yep.
Everyone has worked with everyone. When I audition actors, or if I'm just meeting them, I will stalk them online. I will look at their IMDb, their Star Now, their whatever. I will see if there's any films that I know of, any directors I know, and then I will contact the director, and I'll be like, what would they like to work with? If they give me a bad review, I'm not going to tell the actor, but I'm not going to work with them. If it's a good review, I'll give them a chance. I'll take them out for coffee. I'll see, okay, are we kind of on the same page? If there's a no, then I'm not going to bring you on. So, yeah, just little things like that.
I don't know about trust, but I can talk. I can talk about like falling out of love with an actor. I remember. I remember. So CCTV Nasty was a long process, long time scripting, and I had a script reading, and I had an actor that read one particular role for the reading, and I was like. I cast these actors to do the reading without an audition. I was just like, rock up and read it for me, and I can like direct you on the day. It was just based on I suppose like their show reels. Like, okay, you look like you can read. And so I had 5 actors do a script reading in front of an audience, and I got feedback, and all the actors were like really good. One actor in particular, I was like kind of like, wow, this person has taken the character and made it their own, and I was like I have to make the movie with them. And then production kind of ground on, and then I got in touch with the actor, and like, we're ready to start, and they're like, okay, all right, well, what's what's your budget? I'm like, okay, well, it's low budget. And like, look, I'm not really interested in doing low budget anymore. I'm like, okay, what's your fee? And they told me I told them what I had to offer. They're like, that's not enough. We want this. And it's hard, but it's not an unreasonable request. If you're an actor and you've got other commitments, you can negotiate. And so I was like, look, I need a couple of days to think about this and like just do the sums and everything. And I didn't want to pay like he was one of the 4 leads. I didn't want to pay my 4 leads separate, like different rates, because it's an independent film. And like, so I had to like do the maths, and then I kind of came back to him probably like 4 days later. I'm like, look, I've done the maths. I'd love to work with you. And his response was, okay, sure. Well, just let me know closer to the date, and I'll see if I'm available. And that was just like, oh, okay. Well, I guess not then.
Yeah.
My impression was that they didn't want the role. And
So you accepted his offer?
yeah. I was like, say again?
We were going to make it work.
Yeah, I was going to make it work, but they didn't want to. They didn't want to do it, and so you move on and you start looking again. And I think the story is that eventually you'll find someone else.
So what if he had said to you, listen, I've been seeing this and I actually don't think this role's right for me?
Yep.
Would you have been like, well, I'll never work with that guy ever again?
No.
No.
No,
But
no.
now you're like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you got a weird feeling? Is it kind of like
Yeah.
this?
So if you'd just been honest,
Yes.
you would be better.
If that's what you
Yes.
think is vibe,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I look for kindness, gentleness, intelligence, and I think trust comes from you knowing that if I cast you in the role, that means that I trust you to do the best job with that role, and you trusting my process. Not asking me too many questions about my process, because I'm not always very good at talking about my process or my work, whereas I might be good at doing it, and wait until you see the final product before you judge that. But like if as the director I get questioned a lot on set, we're also just people, we're human, we're vulnerable, and it eats up our self-assurance on the set if we get questioned too much about our process. So trust, I think, comes from me trusting that you're going to do the best job as an actor because I cast you, and you trusting that I'm going to do the best job as a director.
I think that's an individual thing, though. Like for me,
We disagreed on everything so far.
I wasn't keeping score. But
I was. Trust me.
Again, another.
For me, if you have a question, I want to be able to answer it. I want everyone. It's just one more question that I have to answer. So yeah, that's okay.
And that speaks to exactly what I started this talk with you never know what you're going to get with any given director. It's up to you to be malleable and flexible with all of it and embrace that. It's some of the greatest joys of like, this director was a surgeon. This director was like a Judd Apatow type who's just like, yeah, improv, show me what you got. Lean into that, embrace that. That makes for some of the most interesting experiences. And any actor in any given position that you're in, it's up to you to just embrace that, take it, run with it, and be like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. Or like, wow, I think I nailed it like a pinpoint needle today. And me and the director were eye to eye. You never know what you're going to get. Just lean into that and embrace that. That's part of the exciting part of this process. So, in 30 years of doing this, I've experienced everything. And it's difficult at first. But then when you experience it again and again and again, you're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Just lean into it and just embrace it. Thank you guys so much for tonight. I'm so appreciative. Thank you. such a wonderful, insightful, educational experience for you guys. I'm so indebted to you. Let's go for another 15 minutes to mingle and decompress, and then I'm going to kick you the fuck out because I want to go home. But thank you all so much for tonight. I want to give a special shout out to Dia for helping me organize this. You know, again, I think networking is kind of an ugly word, but like, you know, it's just like, are you cool or are you an asshole?
Yeah.
Within 3 minutes of meeting Dia, I was like, this girl fucking
Is
rocks.
an asshole.
Within 3 minutes of meeting Dia, I was like, I love this girl. She's amazing, and we've had a great relationship ever since. I got to work with Sebastian, and within 3 minutes of meeting Sebastian, I was like, this director is awesome. I just met him. He's so great. I can tell how stressed out this environment is, and he's just handing out like a champion. I love this guy. And then Sarah I met at a screening for Grant's movie, and which Dia produced, and I was
She's
like,
coming out in August.
and I was like, this girl's crazy. She's not predictable. I don't know what this girl's all about, but she's cool. And then I got to meet Sascha and Andrew tonight, and you know, just it's amazing. It's such a great, unpredictable world. Lean into that, embrace it. Just be your true selves. That's always my greatest message. And thank you, directors, for sharing your insight and talking to our actors so that I don't have to talk for once. Because coming from you, it's so valuable. So I want to give you guys a big round of applause. All right.
Thanks, James, for organising this.
Yes. It's my pleasure. I really appreciate it.
To us about how this happens in the States all the time, and this kind of event doesn't happen here a lot, and you know, we're extremely grateful to have the opportunity to actually participate.
You're right, that it
My
is a
advice
small
to
community.
actors, get the fuck out of Australia for a bit.
Yeah.
Seriously,
100%.
this industry is quite small. The UK, if you find success, you will be traveling anyway. Use every opportunity you can to like go over and see other industries as well. Australia is not just the be all and end all.
Yeah. And to contradict that, I think it's also a great time to be an Australian actor. Because so much is coming into this country all of a sudden post-COVID.
You should come back. Go overseas, do stuff, and then come back.
It's a great time to be an Australian actor.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like that's rad.
There's never been more opportunity than right now. So yeah, both are true. That's what I always say. Art is a contradiction. Everything, total opposites are true at the same time. So yeah,
Love that.
it's awesome. Thank you, everybody.